You guys who watch me know that I use the word Democrat elite a lot. People ask me, who are these Democrat elite that you speak of? Yes, it's people like Joe Biden, people like Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer. But it's important to recognize that it is also unelected officials like Fauci, who has shown throughout his entire career serving under both Democrat and Republican administrations through his actions that he serves his own interests and the interests of big pharma and big government consistently over the interests of the American people. The insidious part about this is that he and others take these actions and abuse their power in the name of working for our best interests when in fact they are doing the exact opposite. For example, as you remember, during COVID, demanded that we place blind faith in him and the government. They said, just trust us. Just trust the science, that we are acting in the interest of your public health. But over time, we saw what it was really about. It was about control. It was about more money, huge amounts of money, our taxpayer dollars being put directly into the pockets of big pharma. They didn't care about the truth. In fact, they outwardly and very brazenly rejected science, rejected the truth, and just labeled their lies as science and the truth.
Now Libras are freaking out after Bernie Sanders came out like in support of RFK. When you take a look at this video, this is how this person titled it. Bernie Sanders confirmed that he's considering supporting RFK for AHS Secretary. Sanders is currently the chair of the Senate Health Committee. His support will almost certainly guarantee Kennedy's confirmation. I'm going to have to sit down and talk with him. I think you have a food industry's concern about their profit and who care less about the health of the American people. I think they have to be taken on. Hmm? Libras are not happy with this. That should tell you something. It is important. I show you this video.
I think what he is saying about the food industry is exactly correct.
Senator Sanders, as chair of the Help Committee, has really sounded the alarm on ultra-processed foods and the food and beverage industry, drawing comparisons to the fight against big tobacco decades ago. Interestingly enough, RFK Jr. has also talked a lot about food policy, additives, taking on the food industry. That's something part of his platform. It's taken off online with the Make America Healthy Again movement. So I asked Senator Sanders if that's an area where he could potentially work with the Trump administration if RFK Jr. is confirmed.
I think you have a food industry concerned about their profits, could care less about the health of the American people. I think they have to be taken on. I think, on the other hand, when Mr. Kennedy talks about taking fluoride out of our water system, I think what the scientific community will tell you that would be a disaster in terms of dental health in this country. His views on that are in very wrong in so many ways. So we will see how the process unfolds. So I think what he's saying about the food industry makes sense to me. A lot of other things that he's saying are extremely dangerous.
So I tried to press Senator Sanders on if he's made up his mind about President-elect Trump's health picks, how he's preparing for the confirmation process ahead.
We are preparing.
Yes, Sanders is coming around. He sees the writing on the wall. I wonder how many objectors in the Senate are just negotiating with Trump. Making America healthy again should be a bipartisan issue. The status quo is not working. I welcome Benny join us on this one. Someone writing under this video. That is to tell you a lot of people are much concerned with this. Bernie Sanders, initially, the way he was talking about RFK, but now the tone has changed. He's sounding different. That should tell you something. He wants to find common grounds with RFK. He has quoted things he agree with, some he disagree, which to me is important. Not just objecting something.
So I tried to press Senator Sanders on if he's made up his mind about President-elect Trump's health picks, how he's preparing for the confirmation process ahead.
We are preparing, and we're going to be prepared to ask the right questions. And it's not only the confirmation hearings, it will be discussions that we have behind closed doors as well.
At this point, have you made up your mind, or you're going to go through the process? Any other health-related, as the chair of health, are there any other health-related picks, agency picks that you're concerned about?
Well, I think I know Kennedy somewhat over the years. I do not know his other picks, so I'm going to have to sit down and talk with him. The other thing I think that's important is Trump over the years, and Kennedy himself, has talked about as a health problem the fact that we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. And if I'm not mistaken, Kennedy has talked about the need for Americans not to pay more than the people in other countries. I think that's exactly right. And I hope Trump keeps his word in terms of going forward in something that he has talked about for years, substantially lowering the cost of prescription drugs in this country.
Yes, for a very long time now, when I look at Bernie Sanders and his takes, compared to what some of these Democrats believe, sometimes I agree with him. Though a Libra will always be a Libra, I have seen it. Now going into something different, Joy Behar dies inside as John Fetterman explained that Trump's New York trial was politically motivated. Those kind of charges would have never been brought unless one side realized that they could weaponize Dan. He called out Behar to her face, condemning people who were gleeful to call Trump a convicted felon. It turns out he made that statement to one of the worst offenders of that crime. When Behar heard this, it was as if the life had been sucked out of her. What a truly embarrassing moment for her. This is a moment I never saw coming. John Fetterman speaks more like a Republican. I have seen this over and over, and people are agreeing with what I just said.
It is his son, after all, and people do have sympathy for that. But a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now it's that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate, and I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases, and we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. And it's very clear both trials were politically motivated and weaponized that on the other side.
They'll say that about the J6 people too, though, right? That's what they're going to say on the other side. That is weaponized also.
I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about the New York trial. And now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful, calling it like now he's a convicted felon and those things. And now for our party, we were talking about criminal justice, and we are now talking about second chances. And now all of a sudden now you're like, well, he's a convicted felon and all these things. And now clearly, again, both of those trials, the Hunter Biden one and the trial in New York for Trump, that was politically motivated. And those kinds of charges would have never been brought unless one side could realize that they could weaponize that.
Senator, many of Trump's...
He's speaking the truth. I have seen this over and over. People saying, oh, Trump should be pardoned. Trump should be pardoned. Is it a good idea? I want you to know under the comment sections, because some are actually against this. I mean, Republicans, when I look through X, what they post, especially the replies on this video.
I had to read the thing about The View because I just thought it was funny.
What's the
only reason why I read that about me.
Dragon lover.
Joy Behar was trying to say that I believe in dragons.
Wait, what is this? I just heard about
it. I checked it. And the lady goes, did you double check this? She goes, I checked it. He believes in dragons.
Should be like,
they lived alongside of people.
Many years ago. Then the decisive result of this election gives us not just an answer to the question as to what Americans want to do along those lines, it also gives us a really big to-do list.
Let's keep validating the same outlets that continuously undermine us at every single turn.
Dear Mon Pa MAGA.
United States.
It was an excellent conversation. Justin Trudeau broke the border. We didn't have these problems before Justin Trudeau.
Does anybody else think it's funny how Donald Trump has officially done more for Canada and he's not even in office yet?
I had a good call with Donald Trump last night again.
Trudeau is at the end of his time.
The Prime Minister dances while Montreal burns.
Max officers and the Prime Minister was nowhere to be found.
Justin Trudeau tweeted to Taylor Swift asking her to add a stop of her Eras tour in Canada.
Have a nice Sunday.
Doing this. That's what she did.
NBC News can now project that Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin, which means he is the winner of this race and will return to the White House.
And Donald Trump will be our next president.
Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
CNN projects that Donald Trump has been elected president, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris and making a political comeback unlike any in modern American politics.
You know what? Donald Trump likes my music.
Please register to vote.
Look at this. She's only up by 15 points.
Got Taylor Swift.
You know, in 2016 and 2020, it was